All right. This is Clean Life and I'm Sequoia, leading you to discipline, devotion, and real transformation. Here with me is our radiologist, Nancy,
Hello, everyone.
along with the rest of the Clean Life team, and together we're guiding you through the 2026 The Whole Story Bible Study Reading Challenge. Go ahead and subscribe and tap the notification bell so you stay consistent all year long. Tonight we're reading 2 Samuel 13 and 14. 2 Samuel 13, the benefit of God seeing what was mishandled because his justice reaches places people try to cover. 2 Samuel 14, the benefit of God working through wisdom to reopen what was closed because his mercy create pathway your hurt will never build. Let's dive together, chapter by chapter, in Jesus' name. All right. All right, guys. So I hope all is well with you guys today. All is well with you, Nancy?
Yes, it is. Hope everything is all right with everybody else.
All right, guys. So I'm going to give you a few moments to get your Bibles, or you can just read along on the screen. All right. All right, guys. So I just want to alert you guys on 2 Samuel 13 through 14 deals with mature and graphic themes. As we study, we will move carefully and respectfully, keeping our focus on wisdom, context, and emotion well-being. All right, guys. So I just want to alert you on that. Okay. A few moments to hit your Bibles. Okay. So let me just dive in. 2 Samuel 13. Amnon and Tamar. In the course of time, Amnon, son of David, fell in love with Tamar, the beautiful sister of Absalom, son of David. Amnon became so obsessed with his sister Tamar that he made himself ill. She was a virgin and it seemed impossible for him to do anything to her. Now, Amnon had an advisor named Jonadab, son of Shemir, David's brother. Jonadab was a very shrewd man. He asked Amnon, "Why do you, the king's son, look so haggard morning after morning? Won't you tell me?" Amnon said to him, "I'm in love with Tamar, my brother's Absalom's sister." He said, "Go to bed and pretend to be ill." Jonadab said, "When your father comes to see you, say to him, I would like my sister Tamar to come and give me something to eat. Let her prepare the food in my sight so I may watch her and then eat from her hand." All right, guys, so let me give you a little text on. Amnon's obsession was fueled by lust, entitlement, and unchecked desire, not genuine love. In the royal household, sons of David had power without accountability, and Amnon allowed his feelings to grow into sin because no one around him corrected him, including David, who was historically struggled to discipline his children. Okay. Jonadab was Amnon's cousin, described as very shrewd. His advice mattered because he enabled Amnon's sin, showing how corrupt counsel inside David's family contributed to tragedy. Jonadab represents the danger of cleverness without righteousness. Okay. So as we can see right here, that Amnon and Tamar was half sisters and brothers, and he said that he was in love with Tamar, but actually he was really in lust, because that was a sinful act to be, you know, and so to be ill about being with your own sister, half sister or whatever. Okay. And Jonadab was Amnon's cousin, which was David's brother, which we'll look at it as like an uncle, but in those days they would call him a cousin or whatever like that. And he was a shrewd man. If you could see how he came up with a plan to have Amnon to sin against his sister, okay, and not only that, to deceive his father as well, David. He came up with a plan to deceive him. Okay, now Nancy, what was you gonna say about it? You say you want to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say that more or less he was doing what he had been set in motion to do. because David had already had a curse placed over his family. But
Mhm.
God had told him there would be no peace in his family because of what he did before when it came to the murder that he committed and
Mhm.
really all the sin that he committed. That was
Okay.
part of his, that was part of his punishment.
Mhm.
So his family, God told him he wouldn't have peace in his household. Not and I'm gonna be honest with you, when he said it, not if you hadn't really already had read in the word, you probably wouldn't know what he meant. But if you had already read it before, you would know that all these things were gonna happen with his children. Because it's happening within his house, his children.
Mhm. Okay. So, like I said, his cousin had him to come up with a plan to get his sister over to where he was at to prepare some food. He told him to prepare the food in your sight and see and tell her that I may watch her then eat from her hand, okay? And if you have someone eat, a relationship where someone eating out each other's hand, that's normally like you get what I'm saying, a boyfriend, girl, husband, or wife. You know how they have food and they may eat from the hand. That's not, what I'm saying, something you would want to do with your, what I'm saying, with your own family member. And you can see right here that she gonna say that, no, this shouldn't be so. Okay. And then it
But he
says so.
told David. So you would have, but wouldn't you have thought that David would have told him no? That his sister couldn't come over and do all of this, cook for him and all of that, and would have asked why.
Okay, well, he was supposed to be ill, right? He was supposed to be sick, and that was the plan. She was supposed to only come over there to cook. But see, this is just him telling him what to do when she get there. Okay.
Yeah, but think about it. He was like a king and like a prince. So didn't he already have people over there that could feed him and cook for him, do for him?
Yeah, because he gonna have servants there
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why would his father just say, "Okay, let your sister come over here and
and cook for you.
cook for you"?
Hmm.
I don't think that would be an odd request. But I don't know. I don't know their family history.
Yeah, see, David's not looking like that. He's not looking at it. He's probably just looking at it like, oh, he just want the sister to come over there with him. He's not feeling good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he looking at it, like that, just yet until, the act really happened. So let me go ahead. So Amnon lay down and pretend to be ill. When the king came to see him, Amnon said to him, I would like my sister Tamar to come and make some special bread in my sight so I may eat from her hand. And then said, David sent word to Tamar at the palace, go to the house of your brother Amnon and prepare some food for him. So Tamar went to the house of the brother Amnon, who was lying down. She took him some dough, kneaded it, made the bread, made him bread in the sight and baked it. Then she took the pan and served him the bread, but he refused to eat. Now look at this. He's being spiteful right here. He already got in motion what he gonna do. Okay, and then it says, "Send everyone out of here." Amnon said. So everyone left him. Okay, so that's why he didn't eat, because he wanted everybody to leave so they wouldn't see exactly what the plan he had. Then Amnon said to Tamar, bring the food here into my bedroom so I may eat from your hand. And Tamar took the bread she prepared and brought it to her brother Amnon in his bedroom. But when she took it to eat, he grabbed her and said, come to bed with me, my sister. Okay. No, my brother, she said to him, don't force me. Such a thing should not be done in Israel. Don't do this wicked thing. What about me? Where could I get rid of my disgrace? So basically, she told him, "Look, this is not right, right?" And then he like, "Look at what about me? Okay, this gonna be disgraceful. This gonna look bad on me as well. So, why would you do such a thing?" And he said, "Where could I get rid of my disgrace? And what about you? You will be like one of the wicked fools in Israel." He said, "Like you will be a fool. You don't care about how you're gonna look. I mean, what about our family?" And then it said, please speak to the king. He will not keep me from being married to you. All right. So she tried to come up with a plan like, hey, let's talk to our father, like talk to the king. And she was like, hey, marry me. Like, you should marry me first. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't do this to me, because you know she was a virgin. Okay. And she was like, don't do this. And not only that, she probably really wanted him to talk to him, to the father, like, let him know, look what you thinking, where your mind is at. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is when she trying to get him an accountability person. Like, hey, is you making a rash? This finna be a rash act. Like, you need to think about what you get what I'm saying, what you saying and what you doing, right? What you finna do here. All right, you're gonna look like the wicked fool. Like, this is wicked. Get what I'm saying? Before the eyes of God, this is just a wicked act. Period. Okay, and then said, but he refused to listen to her, and since he was strong, then stronger than she, he raped her. Okay. Then Amnon hated her with intense hatred. In fact, he hated her more than he had loved her. Amnon said to her, "Get up and get out." No, she said to him, "Sending me away will be a greater wrong than what you have already done to me." But he refused to listen to her. Okay. So after he made such a rash and bad decision, he turned around and said he hated her, right? Because it was only a lustful act that he was in. He wasn't love, because if he loved, he wouldn't try to hurt somebody he loved. Right. So we know right here that this was definitely, he was in sin. And look at how he acted after he did that. He turned around and kicked her out and told everybody to get her out of here. Okay. He told her to get out. And she was like, "No, I'm not going anywhere." And number one, she's embarrassed, and then this done happened. Like, anyway, this is kind of okay. But he refused to listen to her. He called his personal servant and said, "Get this woman out of my sight," and bolt the door after her. So now she's just a woman. She's no longer Absalom's sister, not only his half sister. Now he don't even know her name. You get what I'm saying? This how much of a disgrace that he was trying to make out of her. Like, okay, so his servant put her out and bolted the door after her. She was wearing an ornate robe, for this was the kind of garment the virgin daughters of the king wore. Right? Tamar put ashes on her head and tore the ornate robe she was wearing. Okay, because she was no longer a virgin anymore. Okay, so she tore her robe and she put it on her head, like to try to cover up from the embarrassment of it all. Okay, and she put her hands on her head and went away weeping aloud as she went. Okay, could think about how she felt. You get what I'm saying? Like, this was done. She didn't, it wasn't in her consent to do this thing, and it was her half brother, and then he humiliated her after he done it. He kicked her out and told them to lock the doors, and they done it. Her brother Absalom said to her, "Has that Amnon your brother been with you?" Because he knew it, because he could see clearly what had happened to him. He said, "Be quiet for now, my sister. He is your brother. Don't take this thing to heart." And Tamar lived in brother Absalom's house, a desolate woman. Right? So he told her, don't say nothing right now, all right? Because that's your brother. And he told her, "Don't take this thing to heart." He was trying to console her. And he began to take up for her and just comfort her, and then he even brought her to brought her to his house, because he knew at that time she needed to be protected.
Yeah.
And then it said, when King David heard all this, he was furious, and Absalom never said a word to Amnon, either good or bad. He hated Amnon because he had disgraced his sister Tamar. Okay, so Absalom quit talking to him. The King David, their father, he was fierce. He was mad about it. But look, nobody didn't say anything to him. Everybody, held it. And this type of things happen. When something bad happened in families, people cover it up and nobody says anything. People walking around, you get what I'm saying, mad, but they never confront the sin. A lot of times that's what happens. The sin never be confronted.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, David, let me read this too. David was fierce but inactive. Historically, David struggled to discipline his son, possibly due to guilt from his own past. Okay,
Mhm.
2 Samuel 11. His silence created a vacuum where Absalom stepped in, setting the stage for revenge. Okay, so yes, God did tell him because of Bathsheba that what I'm saying,
Mhm.
that he would not have peace in his house, and that it will be calamity with in his own house with his own
Yeah.
family. It will be a calamity, right?
Yeah.
So, and it said it will be for the rest of his life. He will have calamity in his house. So it's beginning, guys. We can see how just that one sin is beginning to be like a domino effect. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Did
out.
it about the son sleeping with his wife? Or that's what's going to end up, that's part of what he told him was going to happen.
Yeah, but he didn't say this part. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. Well,
all of this is stemming from a
yeah.
sinful act, and this just let us know that how we have to be careful when sin enter into our door. We got to be careful because not to do just sin right, just right out sin and do things because our children could be
Affected by what we do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, our children could be, something that they didn't have anything to do. It's because the sin is in, the count. It'll come down, to our children. So we have to be careful about that. Absalom kills Amnon. 2 years later, when Absalom's shearers were at Baal Hazor near the border of Ephraim, he invited all the king's sons to come there. Absalom went to the king and said, "Your servant has had shearers come. Will the king and his attendants please join me?" He said, "No, my son." The king replied, "All of us should not go. We will only be a burden to you." And reason why he said that because it will be costly for the king and everybody to come. That's why he said, "I don't want to be a burden to you," because it was going to be a feast and he was going to have to pay for all of them to come. That's why he was saying, "No, I don't want to be a burden for you." The count going to be financially you don't have this, and it's going to be a lot for all us to come down and have a feast with you. He said although Absalom urged him, he still refused to go but gave him his blessing. Absalom didn't want him there no way, because he had them come up with something for a way for him to 2 years had done went by, and he saw that his father hadn't did anything when it came to Amnon. He had them come up with a plan for him to be able to set Amnon up. So he didn't really want him there no way. He knew at that time that his father was not, going to sit down and have no feast, because they said at that time the kings did not splurge, or that was a time of like rest where I guess they just let their money just rest. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a time to have a feast. And then it said, then Absalom said, "If not, please let my brother Amnon come with us." Okay, so here goes his little plot finna come. And then it said the king asked him, "Why should he go with you?" Because he knew like, okay, we already know that you upset about what he did with Tamar. You know what I'm saying? So he asked the question, why would you want him to come? And that's when he should have went on and confronted Absalom to let him know, look, I know what you up to. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
don't do this, because all of this is just out of the blue. It's random what you coming up with. Like, he should have just went along with his gut, because look at the question he knew that something wasn't right. And that's how parents should be. Like, when we know something ain't right, or anybody knows something ain't right, go with your gut. Okay, go with your first, instinct. Don't let it just slide. And he said, but Absalom urged him, so he sent with him Amnon and the rest of the king's son. All right. And that, look at it, was an urgency. So, and then like when somebody like trying to do something real fast and have you move fast, like, don't let people just have you move fast, because when you move fast, you're not thinking clearly. Okay. Then it said Absalom ordered his men, listen, when Amnon is in high spirits from drinking wine and say to you, strike Amnon down, then kill him. Don't be afraid. Haven't I give you this order? Be strong and brave. So Absalom men did to Amnon what Absalom had ordered. Then all the king's sons got up, mounted their mules, and fled. So he got them drunk.
Yep.
Right?
And
He
people
got
still do that today with people.
Mm-hmm. I thought
Attack
about it.
them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Attack them after they know they've been drinking or something like that. Or while you see a lot of people that be at clubs and stuff, and all of a sudden you find out something happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because people know when people are partying and stuff like that, they mind ain't thinking, you know, right and stuff about
Mm-hmm.
what could happen or whatever. And so
Yes.
that's a lot of times people unalive people, and more or less that's what he did. And they said this was a time of feasting and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and where they partied, had a good time, and they made money. This was
Mm-hmm.
money making time too.
Yes. And this happened at family functions a lot of times too. Families get together and like you said, and they drinking it, and this can be in the house. A lot of times that happen with families as well. And people already have in mind like what they're gonna plan, what they're gonna do with you. Right? So a lot of times people start arguments, just you get what I'm saying, just to, like you said, to unallow that person. They already know what they got in play. So this does happen at family. You hear about family functions where families drinking, playing cards, you know, all the things happen, you know, be going on. And then, you know, they say all of a sudden, oh, somebody so-and-so did something at this house, at their house. And they be like, at their own family house. Yes. So this happens at people's homes, right? Arguments and things happen right there. But see, he didn't even do it himself. He had his men do his dirty work, right? So that's why he had ordered everybody to come, because he had already had in his mind that he was gonna get them to do his dirty work for him. But he was upset because nothing had took place about what Amnon did to his sister. Right? And then, you know, his anger, he was in fury. And his anger just kept building and building. And you can see that he waited like you said, he waited 2 years for something to be done. And he waited 2 years for the right time, you know, to come up with this murder. Then it said, while they were on their way, the report came to David. Absalom had struck down all the king's sons. Not one of them is left. So you know that was a lie right there.
But I feel like he told him that because that was to break the sting of one son being dead. You get what I'm saying? Like if David just came and told him Absalom was dead, it would have bothered him real, real bad. But the fact that they said all his sons, you know how shocked he probably was when they told him that, and how, you know, bad he felt probably and stuff, and was messed all up. But then when they came back and told him, oh no, it was just one son, Absalom. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that was
but see, we're seeing that. I'm gonna tell you how lies sin is anyway. Sin and lies, it's like just like when somebody die, somebody gonna always add something to it, and that's even how people do now. You know what I'm saying? Like because they want to tell the story, they add lies, and you know what I'm saying? They add lies, and then come to find out that really wasn't happening. People find that out, you know, when they family, like people come back and tell them this happened, that happened, and then come to find out when they get the report, like how they finna get the report, that didn't happen at all. You know what I'm saying? So this happens like right now today. You know, people tell all kinds of lies around a murder. You get what I'm saying? And then it said the king stood up, tore his clothes, and lay down on the ground, and all the attendants stood by with their clothes torn. Okay, so he was upset. You know, he done tore his clothes, and that was a sign, you know, of mourning. And then it said attendants, they tore their clothes as well. And then it said, I mean, it didn't just think about it. He probably knew that I done got set up. Like, I done set my sons up for them to, murder each other. You know what I'm saying? How could he probably thinking like, how did I not see this? Why didn't I go with my own instincts? But Jonadab, son of Shemiel, David's brother, said, my Lord should not think that they killed all the princes. Only Amnon is dead. All right. So then somebody gonna always tell the correct story, okay? And a lot of times that would happen when a lot of times people talking to the police or whatever, you get somebody, you know what I'm saying? That's how it gets solved. Somebody come and tell the correct story. And all the noise and all, you get what I'm saying? All the lies and stuff that were told, the noise come to an end and somebody finally come out and tell the truth. And that's what happened right here. This has been Absalom expressing intention ever since the day Amnon, his sister Tamar. My lord the king should not be concerned about the report that all the king's sons are dead. Only Amnon is dead. Like, just come out and just be frank with you. Only Amnon dead. And nobody else ain't dead in this situation. Meanwhile, Absalom had fled. Now the man standing watch looked up and saw many people on the road west of him coming down the side of the hill. The watchman went and told the king, I see men in the direction of Horonim on the side of the hill. Jonadab said to the king, see, the king's son have come. It has happened just as your servant said. As he finished speaking, the king's son came in wailing loudly. The king, too, and all his attendants wept very bitterly. Absalom fled and went to Talmai, son of Amihud, the king of Geshur. But King David mourned many days for his son. All right. And the king of Geshur, he fled there because it was his maternal grandfather. That's where his maternal grandfather lived. And they was in play and power there. Okay, so you're gonna see that's why he fled there, because them were his maternal family, and he went where they was at, and I guess they allowed him to be there. After Absalom fled and went to Geshur, he stayed there 3 years, and King David longed to go to Absalom, for he was consoled concerning Amnon's death. Okay. Geshur was ruled by Absalom's material grandfather, making it a safe refuge. His flight also reveals the factor and nature of David's family alliances. Absalom had external political support, which later empowered his rebellion. Because like we said, you're going to know Absalom, he turned against David, and he was able to do it because his maternal grandfather was in power and Geshur, right? And so that's how, he gonna be able to turn on him, because he gonna have political power there. Yeah, this was this was a lot for me.
Yeah,
wow.
It was a lot. He had a lot. There was a lot going on from the very beginning. There was a lot happening.
Yeah. And so we're gonna go on to the next chapter.
Second Samuel
14.
2 Samuel chapter 14. Absalom returns to Jerusalem. Joab, son of Zeruiah, knew that the king's heart longed for Absalom. So Joab sent someone to Tekoa and had a wise woman brought from there. He said to her, pretend you are in mourning. Dress in mourning clothes and don't use any cosmetic lotions. Act like a woman who has spent many days grieving for the dead. Then go to the king and speak these words to him. And Joab put the words in her mouth. When the woman from Tekoa went to the king, she fell with her face to the ground to pay him honor, and she said, help me, your majesty. And that was one of the things that, I noticed about this, is that Joab, he was like when it came to all of this messed up stuff, he was in the middle of everything. Like everything that was going on, anything underhanded or whatever, he was a part of it. I know this is gonna be where he trying to do something good in a sense, but he doing it in a way that is, behind the king's back.
Well, he did it like this because he knew that he was in mourning, and what it was happening was David was such and such so much grief. He politically couldn't make no
Decision regarding
yeah,
Absalom, because he wanted
make
Absalom to come back, but he felt like that wouldn't be right because he, unalived, Absalom. So he,
like as far as the kingdom too, he wasn't able to make any decisions. And Joab is the commander in charge, so he was trying to get him back to the point where he was able to make decisions for the kingdom, because he wasn't able to make any decisions. Like he was in such grief that what I'm saying, the kingdom was in play, was what I'm saying, like yeah, it was causing distractions to him.
Yeah, and it was like he was like the judge. Like when people had issues and stuff, they would come to him for him to make decisions regarding it.
Yeah, and he couldn't make no decision. He was distracted. So Joab was trying to bring his mind back into
I understand
his position.
Yeah, but like I said, to me, it's like everything that's going on though. He's in the middle of all of it, everything.
Yeah.
And I understand you saying he was trying to do that to help him. And maybe he felt like he couldn't go to him and just say, you mourning for your son, Absalom, have him come back.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't feel like he could do that. So here he's using this lady to come in and act like she's really grieving real bad for a family member or whatever. And he's putting that lady in David's shoes.
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, and he did it as in a metaphor, because a lot of times that's how they did too. You know what I'm saying? Like they use metaphors or whatever.
You the woman,
Mm-hmm.
Tell a story, but really it's about you.
Yeah.
When the woman from Tekoa went to the king, she fell with her face to the ground to pay him honor, and she said, "Help me, your majesty." The king asked her, "What is troubling you?" She said, "I am a widow. My husband is dead. I, your servant, had 2 sons. They got into a fight with each other in the field, and no one was there to separate them. One struck the other and killed him. Now the whole clan has risen up against your servant. They say, 'Hand over the one who struck his brother down, so that we may put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed. And then we will get rid of the heir as well.' They would put out the only burning coal I have left." And so more or less she's saying that they're going to get rid of my only child. The only child I have left that when it comes to lineage, would say that we still have lineage here, but they're going to even get rid of him. That's why she's saying they're getting rid of the only burning coal I have left, leaving my husband neither name nor descendant on the face of the earth. The king said to the woman, "Go home, and I will issue an order in your behalf." But the woman from Tekoa said to him, "Let my lord the kingdom pardon me and my family, and let the king and his throne be without guilt." So she's saying, in that you're doing this, don't have no guilt behind it. Like, more or less what he's going to do when it comes to his son, for him not to have guilt. So she's speaking it towards him. The king replied, "If anyone says anything to you, bring them to me, and they will not bother you again." She said, "Then let the king invoke the Lord his God to prevent the avenger of blood from adding to the destruction, so that my son will not be destroyed." So she's saying, go to God and pray about it, so that God can, avenge us. Like, we don't want to stay in this place. More or less saying to him, you need to move from the place that you are. Go to God and pray and ask God that even though this thing has happened, to let Absalom come back, your son, let my son be a part of, our family.
Mm-hmm.
As truly as the Lord lives, he said, not one hair of your son's head will fall to the ground. And in a sense, he's speaking it towards Absalom.
Mm-hmm.
Then the woman said, let your servant speak a word to my lord the king. Speak, he replied. The woman said, why then have you devised a thing like this against the people of God? When the king said this, does he not convict himself? For the king has not brought back his banished son. That you see what she's doing, right?
Right.
Like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be recovered, so we must die. But that is not what God desires, rather. He devises ways so that a banished person does not remain banished from him. And remember, that was one of the things, that if you end up unaliving somebody, like because of things that happen, and it's like really not your, like he unalived his brother because of what his brother did, and there were no consequences for what his brother did. So there was supposed to be, I thought there was a place or something that people could go to get amnesty or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had been unalived, they had unalived somebody, there was a place they could go where they could be free.
Yeah, and show mercy.
About, have mercy, and not have to worry about somebody trying to unalive them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will come to say, and now I have come to say this to my lord the king, because the people have made me afraid. Your servant thought I will speak to the king. Perhaps he will grant his servant's request. Perhaps the king will agree to deliver his servant from the hand of the man who is trying to cut off both me and my son from God's inheritance. And now your servant says, may the word of my lord the king secure my inheritance. For my lord the king is like an angel of God in discerning good and evil. May the Lord your God be with you. So she's saying, when you go to God, God is going to give you the discernment that you need to make the decisions that you need to make. And even in helping me with my son, God's going to give you the understanding when it comes to your son.
Mm-hmm.
Then the king said to the woman, don't keep from me the answer to what I'm going to ask. Because see, now the king knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Let my lord the king speak, the woman said. The king asked, isn't the hand of Joab with you in all this? Because he's seeing how she knowing all his business, and everything what's going on. So he's saying, yeah, Joab is this is Joab, ain't he? In the
And see, and I like how he did it too, because David is poetic. You know what I'm saying? And God know how to get to our heart when we in a tough place. You know what I'm saying? When we in the morning, or you know what I'm saying, and our heart is just breaking or whatever. That's what I keep saying, how God know what he know us, right? So he know what it take to get to us. And that's what he doing right here. They using this parable to get to his heart, to soften his heart, because his heart is torn. You know what I'm saying? And so this was really a good thing that he came up with.
And if you think about it, when it comes to the word of God, when Jesus would go out and he would witness to people, but didn't he use parables?
Yeah, he did.
He used stories.
Yes, he did.
For people to be able to understand, those who had an ear to hear what the Spirit was saying to them.
Yeah.
He used parables for them to have understanding and knowledge.
Yes.
No, everybody didn't get it, but the people that was supposed to get it got it.
Yes, and he know how to lighten the load. He know you. He knew this wasn't a time for him to just come and say, "Look, you need to get out of this. Like he dead now." That's how they could have came, but they knew that at this time this was not a time to just come and just load all this stuff on him. Like they said, it was too soft. It was too soften his heart, and then for him to show mercy to his son. Because he is still alive.
Yes, his son is still alive, and David was missing his son too.
Yes, he was.
And that guy knew it. Joab knew it.
Yeah, he knew. He couldn't make no decisions, and by him being commander in charge, it's like his hands were tied. But he was trying to make sure he saved it. You get what I'm saying? The kingdom. He was trying to make sure he saved it. So he was like, "Oh, something got to be done about this."
The woman answered, as surely as you live, my lord the king, no one can turn to the right or to the left from anything my lord the king says. Yes, it was your servant Joab who instructed me to do this and who put all these words into the mouth of your servant. Your servant Joab did this to change the present situation. My Lord has wisdom like that of an angel of God. He knows everything that happens in the land. The king said to Joab, very well, I will do it. Go, bring back the young man Absalom. Joab fell with his face to the ground to pay him honor, and he blessed the king. Joab said, today your servant knows that he has found favor in your eyes, my lord the king, because the king has granted his servant's request. Then Joab went, to Geshur and brought Absalom back to Jerusalem. But the king said he must go to his own house. He must not see my face. So Absalom went to his own house and did not see the face of the king. And so even though the Lord blessed him to be able to come back home, he didn't get to spend time with his father because David was still wanting to punish him. David's heart was not, where it really needed to be there.
It takes steps. It's a process. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't, like you said, it just can't just overload him. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm hurting because I can't see you. I'm not with you, because he fled back to his maternal side of the family. He went and left, and he couldn't see him or whatever, but he still had to think about, like, look what you did to my other son, what you did my daughter. He was like, right now I can't even look at you. I'm getting you close. You get what I'm saying? I'm letting you come near. But right now it's a process, and I have made a step. I'm not just ready to make the whole step. That's basically
even though he missed him.
Yeah, he just couldn't, right? He just couldn't stand to see him, right?
But my thing when it comes to that too, and I understand that his son didn't kill his daughter, but it was like he did really kill her.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, and everything.
It took her youth from her.
Yeah, and took her life from her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for her to be a virgin and then that to happen, then that meant that any man that would even, do you think in that time would a man even want her? And because look, they had to prove they were virgins and stuff like that before they would marry them and stuff.
And look, it said too that Absalom was hung but not restored. The unresolved tension allowed bitterness to grow in Absalom, eventually fueling his rebellion in the later chapters, right? Because he grew bitter because his father still didn't want to see him. And so
his daddy still didn't want to see him. But then you have to think about something. If his heart grew bitter, it was because, look at how you treating me, but you let him, rape my sister. And you didn't do nothing about it. But then when I do something, look how you treat, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, where did God say sin is sin? There ain't no big sin, no little sin.
Sin. And this exactly was a sinful act. You get what I'm saying? If you put yourself in his shoes, you know what I'm saying? He probably can't stomach the fact that, guess what? He got a son gone, and he did that. At least show me some grace that I'm showing you mercy to be able to come in my stead, but just wait a while. Get what I'm saying? Wait for me to let some wounds kind of heal. Get what I'm saying? Because the wounds are fresh.
I understand what you're saying, but he feel like his wounds are fresh too. That happened to his sister. He saw what his sister went through, and he been gone for 2 years. I'm just telling you of the way the animosity or bad feelings can come up in a person, especially when it comes to a father and son or a child and their parental figures. When it's like they turn their back on them.
But you got to look at the overall picture. You know what I'm saying? The overall picture, like they all was in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Instead, you should allow God to, get what I'm saying, handle the situation instead of taking it in your own hand. He took the situation in his own hands, right? Instead of allowing God to handle Amnon the way he needed to handle Amnon, because God was, I'm pretty sure, was going to handle him something. So, you know what I'm saying? He killed his brother. He killed the man. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then it was his son. Both of these are his sons and his daughter. I mean, like you said, things was going to happen. He still took the matters in his own hand.
I just feel like everything that happened is a lie, but then I too can see how his son Absalom began to think the way that he did and ended up doing the things that he did. I can see why and understand him doing it, because whereas you got a sound mind and you thinking the way you are, it's because you're not a person walking in that place. To me, you have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes to kind of why they think the way they think, or why they
No, I understand the way I understood the way he think, but
and you understand
if we're looking at the eyes of God, if you looking at, okay, if we're trying to use like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I can look in his shoes and see, oh, I will be upset and mad too. But can we promote evil with evil? Get what I'm saying? So what we have to do is allow, get what I'm saying, God to you know what I'm saying, do what he need to do with Amnon. Get what I'm saying? Instead of us taking it upon ourselves, you get what I'm saying, and just like you said, unallow somebody.
I understand what you're saying. I was just saying it from a perspective of this story.
Oh no, I understand. I can understand why he. You get what I'm saying? I can understand why he was upset about the whole situation. But remember, I was telling you too. I wanted to try to take this context like in a healthy, you get what I'm saying, way, because I know, like you said, is like these two chapters is kind of like some people may have went through this. So you know what I'm saying? Like things like this do happen. So that's why I was trying to look at it from a healthy standpoint too.
Okay. In all Israel, there was a man so highly praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. From the top of his head to the sole of his foot, there was no blemish in him. So they were talking about, he kind of make you think about Saul, don't
yeah. That's what they say. And that's how he was able to do what he go. You can go ahead. What he did, because here we go, Israel, the stiff-necked Israel. They always look on the outward appearance.
Mm-hmm. Whenever he cut the hair of his head, he used to cut his hair once a year because it became too heavy for him. He would weigh it, and his weight was 200 shekels by the royal standard. He had some heavy hair, didn't he?
Yeah. He had a lot of hair.
Yeah. 3 sons and a daughter were born to Absalom. His daughter's name was Tamar, and she became a beautiful woman. So he named his daughter after his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Absalom lived 2 years in Jerusalem without seeing the king's face. Then Absalom sent for Joab in order to send him to the king. But Joab refused to come to him. So he sent a second time, but he refused to come. Then he said to his servants, "Look, Joab's field is next to mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire." But Absalom's servants set the field on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Then Joab did go to Absalom's house, and he said to him, "Why have your servants set my field on fire?" Absalom said to Joab, "Look, I sent word to you and said, 'Come here so I can send you to the king to ask, why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me if I were still there. Now then, I want to see the king's face, and if I'm guilty of anything, let him put me to death." So he's saying he's tired of not being able to see the king, and he want to go see his daddy. And if he feel like he done something so terrible, he would rather be put to death than to be sitting around just being there. He'd rather go back where he was at if he don't want to be bothered with him. So Joab went to the king and told him this. Then the king summoned Absalom, and he came in and bowed down with his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. What an ending.
Wow.
So most of the time, how do people get stabbed in the back.
That kiss.
Yes, with a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
In most stories.
In life too, like somebody hug you or kiss you, and
Yeah.
that be the person that's gonna set you up. I mean, yeah, they yeah. Yeah, a lot of times that do happen, but I guess he was trying to pay on homage here, like, hey, you still my son, and you went through, desperate measures to, to be able to come see my face. I miss you too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you see, he called out for Joel, and Joel thought he wasn't gonna show up. He made Joel show up, but see, Joel would show up for the king. And, he was just saying, like, probably like, look, I done did my part. I want to stay out of this, but Absalom said, no, you the one come up sending me here, and then I'm just sitting here over here, and y'all acting as if I, don't matter. I ain't nobody or something. I'm part of the kingdom, royal kingdom as well too. I need to see my daddy. Look, today I'm gonna see. Guess he said I'm gonna see him today. Yeah. I don't let this go on long enough.
And my notes say reconciliation requires more than just physical closeness. True healing requires addressing what happened.
Yeah.
Avoiding conflict does not remove the pain underneath. And that's, like you said, that's what a lot of people do. There are things that happen and nobody don't talk about it. They like hide it or keep it, silent. Pride and unresolved wounds can grow into greater problems. Outward success and popularity do not always reflect a person's heart. God values restoration, but restoration must be accompanied by honesty and transformation. And that's what you was talking about.
And like you said, David probably was sitting there thinking about, he know God done told him that calamity was gonna happen in his house, and he probably knew he done brung this on himself.
I mean, that's a lot to think about.
He probably knew, he felt in his heart like, I done messed up with my children. You get what I'm saying? Like, I brung all of this on myself. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow, but
I did what I did, right? With Bathsheba. This happened, right?
Yeah, and because he murdered somebody.
Yeah, and then he had the baby to pass too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like his children are doing the things he did.
Mm-hmm. And that normally happens. A lot of, you get what I'm saying? It normally happens like that open sin. That you get what I'm saying? That sin you did openly, or the sin you did in private. It's normally gonna be, it's gonna be shown openly through your children, right? Because he just took and just off a person that was doing, a loyal person that was doing right by him. You just off them, and like it wasn't nothing, just behind a woman, and then. Look at this now. Look at what's going on with the children. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you murder somebody. Now somebody gonna murder somebody in your house. You get what I'm saying? So just that was a hard pill to swallow. I'm pretty sure.
And I bet you his children probably don't even know about Bathsheba, about what he did to the Bathsheba's husband. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm pretty sure they know, because people talk.
Yeah, people talk, but I don't know. I think a
lot.
And
then he haven't had a son yet by Bathsheba. Didn't he have the son? Didn't he have the son by Bathsheba already?
Who, Solomon?
Yeah.
Well, you know how this is now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about Solomon.
Yeah.
They're talking about Absalom now.
Yeah.
You know how we'll think we're in one place, and then we'll find out we done moved back, and they catching up with something in the Bible.
Yeah, that's true. That is how that could be how it go too. But they know Bathsheba is around. I'm gonna tell you something. When it comes to people having all those different wives and stuff, people and different children by different people. Oh, the children know how, because the story get told to the children. I don't know if parents be knowing it or not, but all the details and everything get told to the children, and that's why you have a lot of times the children be sitting around mad at the other sibling because of what was being said or how things took the place. So I'm pretty sure he knew what his father had done did. I'm pretty sure he did. But that is like how what happened. He off somebody, so somebody in this household, it happened to him. A lot of time, what to see how it feel. You know what I'm saying? Like what goes around comes around. A lot of times, that's what they say too. Um, but okay, guys. So thank you guys for
Kena,
reading this text with us, huh?
this is saying that Solomon was alive during
That's
this.
what I thought. I
Those
thought he
were
was.
the older. These are the older sons.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have something up. There's something's gonna come up about him later on.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he was out. Remember, it's like right after the baby died. They mourned for the baby, and remember he got up and then turned around. He ended up having relations with Bathsheba, and she ended up conceiving. Remember, that's what
Yeah,
it said. But like you said, it does go back and forth. So, but I'm pretty sure they know everything because people talk. You get what I'm saying? Even though they might not be telling it like it really happened, but people do talk. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go to the next sessions of giving your life to the Lord. My granddaughters are here to spread the word with you. Woohoo! Y'all ready?
Romans 10, verse 9. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Come as you are, and God will do the cleaning up.
All right, guys. Like she said, come as you are, and God will do the cleaning up. All right, and we can see right here that God had a lot of cleaning up he had to do. And it's the same way in our life. God got a lot of cleaning up he got to do in our life, but you can come just as you are, because we can see right here that want no perfect people in the Bible. Ain't no perfect people, you know what I'm saying? But God still chose these people, and the thing about it, God knew what David was gonna do before he chose him, right? He knew what was in his heart. He knew that that he was gonna unalive somebody. He knew he was gonna commit adultery. He knew all this, right? And so this is just to show that God can use anybody. Whatever you have done in your life, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and give your life to the Lord. Get it right with God. Let him show you his grace and mercy, right? Because that's what Jesus came here for. To nail all that to the cross. Everything, all the sinful acts, you get what I'm saying? He nailed that to the cross. We don't have to worry about that or deal with it anymore. Once you give your life to the Lord, guess what? God said he don't even remember it no more. Did he not say that next? He said he don't remember it no more.
nope. You don't remember it. Throw it into the sea of forgetfulness.
That's right.
Once you receive Christ in your life, you move past those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, as you go forward in him, you'll see changes happening in your life.
Yeah. And it don't matter if people try to bring it up, it don't matter. God don't remember it. If God don't remember it, neither do you. Don't walk around with condemnation. Don't walk around with guilt. All right? Because God has showed us his mercy.
That's
and
true.
his grace over your life. You get what I'm saying? You a new creature. Right? You're a new creation. Once you give your life to the Lord, you is not the same.
That's
Old
true.
things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. Right? And you got to know it. You got to know it. That you got a new identity in him. And your identity is in him. It's not in your own anymore. So, all right. So we appreciate your time, Clean Life. Share the inspiration by following us on Facebook and subscribing to Clean Life with Sequoia on YouTube. Hold close the promise of Romans 10 and 9 and know that you're surrounded by our love and God's love. And all right, Clean Life, goodbye and have a prosperous weekend. Have a prosperous life. All right. And in order to have that prosperous life, guys, remember, you got to give your life to the Lord, okay? That's how you have a prosperous life.
Make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below.
Okay, and hit the notification bell. Okay, so you will stay updated with us. What you need something, say something. You finna say?
I'm just gonna say, have a blessed weekend.
Okay, and have a blessed weekend. All right, guys, and we have some more videos that you can read if you want to go on to Samuel 15 and 16. I got some readings out there that you want to read on. If you want to read along with me, you go check the next video out. It's one that's reading. We'll expound next week on 15 and 16, but we already have a reading for you if you want to go ahead and check out those videos as well, okay? All right. So we can keep you up to date on God's word, right? Because it's spending time with him, and most importantly, like, it's being in the presence of God. That's where that change will come. You know how I say God will clean you up. He'll clean you up through his word. Okay.
Amen.
So stay in God's presence. And God's willing, we'll see you next week. All right. Love you. Peace.
Goodbye, Clean Life.